Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. In today's video, we are going to be reading 3 books that I am so excited to read. At the beginning of every single month, I like to make a TBR, a loose TBR. And these 3 books have been on my loose TBR for the past 3 months, and I just never get to them. And so I was like, I am prioritizing this. The first week of September, I am going to read these books. So we are going to read first Wild Dark Shore, a novel by Charlotte McConney. I have read 2 books from this author. I enjoyed one, did not enjoy the other. So we are going to see if this is an author I should keep returning to, or can I kind of put her on the side, like maybe that one book was a fluke. We are going to find out, and this is the first book we are going to read in this video. The second book we are going to read in this video is Juny by Erin Crosby Exton. I am really excited to read this book. This is a book I have seen on a lot of people's TBRs. I have seen a lot of people get their hands on, but I have not been spoiled in any way about what this book is about, because if you guys do not know something about me, the thing is, I don't actually like knowing what books are about. I like to buy books sometimes just by like the vibes that they give. Like, I am very much so judging a book by its cover. I look at the cover of something, I look at the author, I look at who blurbed the book, what people are saying about the book, and then I'm just like, that seems up my alley, even though I have no clue what it's about. I like being surprised. I actually don't like when I know what a book is about going into a book. That's why a lot of people's content who I watch, if they are reading a book that's already on my TBR, I kind of go right past that part of their video because I just want to go in it surprised, and then I'll go back and see what they said, see if we agree. But that is Juny, and I'm excited to read this one. And then we are going to read Liars. This is a book that I picked up at the beginning of the year. The reason why that sticks with me is because I went to the bookstore the first week of the year. And the next day, I bought this book, and the next day, I got sick. I had never been more sick in my life, honestly, than how sick I got after I bought this book. So this book always reminds me of the first week of the year where, baby, I was down and out. I was throwing up every hour. It was horrible. It was a horrible, 3-4 days. And this book reminds me of that. And so I'm going to read it. It's by Sarah Manguso. It is from the author who wrote Very Cold People. And now I run into an issue. I own Very Cold People, but I haven't read Very Cold People. It might be one of my 25 books to read in 2025. So now I'm like, should I read Very Cold People first? No. I'll just go back, because Charlotte McConney, she put out Migrations first, and then she put out Once There Were Wolves, and I read Once There Were Wolves first, and then I read Migration. If I would have read Migration first, I would have never read Once There Were Wolves, and then I would never have read this book. So maybe it's fine reading authors' books. I care. We're chaotic here, okay? Anyway, so let's get into the video. The first book we're gonna read is Wild Dark Shore. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. We are here for our first reading clip. I don't usually like to come talk to you guys this soon about a book, but I just feel like this is one of those books, if I don't come and discuss it with you guys, I'll forget, and then we'll be almost at the end of the book, and I'm just like, so these are my thoughts. So I'm gonna talk to you guys after 50 pages. I'm back on my thing of trying to read 50 pages every morning. I'm gonna try to get through this whole week reading these 3 books, reading 50 pages every single morning. So that means, before I get out of bed, getting my book, don't get on my phone, go straight to reading. So I was able to get 50 pages in. I'm about to sit down and read another 50 because I want to read about 150 pages today. And so let's talk about Wild Dark Shore. In order to talk about Wild Dark Shore, we do have to talk about Charlotte McConney, because this is an author who I have read 2 books from in the past. The first book I read was Once We Were Wolves. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I very much so enjoyed it. And then last year, maybe even this year, was it last year or this year? I don't know. I read Migrate, or Migrant. I don't even remember, but it's on the screen. I read that book and I did not enjoy it. I gave that book 2 out of 5 stars. And so going into this book, I was nervous. I was nervous that we would get more of the blue book and not the brown book. So I was just like, please be more like the brown book. And I am pleased to say in the first 50 pages, it's actually a combination of both. And I think that is for the best. So let me tell you what this book is about. We start this book up and a woman has washed on shore. A woman has washed on shore and this young girl has found her and brought her into their home. She lives in a home with her father and 2 brothers. And she's just like, this woman washed up, like what are we going to do? So they decide to take care of this woman, to stitch her up and to, make sure she's good. And so through this starts our story kind of this family and of this woman. We get to know a man named Dominic. Dominic is the father in this family, and he has his 3 kids. And we know that he kind of is a little mysterious. He may have done something to his daughter because him and his daughter don't have a really good relationship. And he seems really cautious of everything around him because there was a world that they left because they live in the middle of nowhere close to Antarctica is the closest landmass to them. They live on this island. And they used to have a life before then that he is very hush-hush about. And so then we have a young boy. His name is Ari, or something with an O. He is a young boy, and I love characters like him in stories who are just young and precious. He is very into wildlife. He is very into nature, and he has really taken to the woman who washed up on shore. They're kind of building a relationship, and he kind of asks a lot of questions, but his big thing is that he is very in touch with nature. Then we got our girl who found the woman. She is the daughter, and she is very cautious of her dad. You can tell that she kind of hasn't bought in to the life the way the other people has. Even though she likes being on the island, she seems to be the only one who really, really likes being where they are. She hasn't really bought into the dad. She hasn't really bought into this story. They've been there for 8 years, and she is kind of cautious. You can tell she's aware that maybe everything isn't as it seems. Keep in mind, we've been told the mom is dead. And so then we have the older brother. The older brother, he's the hardest to get a grasp on, but he's there. Just know that he is there, and he's a lot like the father. And then we have our girl, Rowan. She's the one who washed up. And the father tells us to be cautious of her because he thinks it's weird that they're in the middle of nowhere and she would wash up. So let's get into where they are. So they, like I said, are near Antarctica. It gets really, really cold. They don't have a lot of infrastructure, and a lot of scientists come to the island to do research because to understand this book, you have to understand this author. This author writes books where you're in present day, but it's a day where some natural disaster has occurred. We, as the reader, we never get told what has occurred. It's just this idea that something has happened in nature that has caused a lot of damage. And it's always the people in this book trying to reverse the damage or save some type of wildlife. So Once We Were Wolves, they were trying to save the wolves. In Migration, just trying to save the birds. In this book, they are trying to save a bunch of plant species. And so basically this island is a place where a lot of extinct or almost extinct plant species are stored, and there's this idea that once everything goes to hell, they need to plant this stuff in order for the next human beings to come and be able to live. And that's kind of what the father's job is on this island. They're kind of the protector of this island, and scientists come, but the big whoop is that the scientists have all left, and the only people left on this island is this family and now this lady who washed up. And so it's really weird, and everybody's keeping secrets, and we're what is going on this island? It's given Lost, and I love Lost. Lost is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And so it's given Lost. Now, That sounds very mysterious, right? Like, what's going on? I always tell people in books like this, like literary fiction mysteries, do not get too invested in this being like a mystery or who done it, because that's never how these books go. Like, never go into these books and think like, I gotta figure out who did something, or there's gonna be an aha moment. There never is. These types of books, literary fiction, mystery, not even spooky, like just, like what the hell is going on? You kind of run into the whodunit very slowly. And before you know it, you forgot what you was even like looking for. Like the plot slowly unfolds and you realize like, it was never that deep to begin with. So like, don't go into these books being like, I gotta know the mystery. The characters are always the thing you're supposed to hold tight to. Don't hold tight to the plot. Don't hold tight to like, I gotta know what's gonna happen. It's it's always about the characters, you guys. Anytime you are reading a literary fiction mystery, a literary fiction thriller, it's the characters. You don't, I see people leave reviews all the time for like books like this, and it's just like, I wanted more, I expected more. There were so many pieces. It's all about the characters. You are not about to get greatly gooped and gagged by the book, and it's not because there won't be goops and gags. It's just like the story is going to slowly unfold that you won't even realize that all the stuff you were curious about has been answered, because it's not like an actual thriller or mystery where it's like, now here is the plot twist. So like, I just enjoy being in this book, if that makes sense. I enjoy being in this book. The sensory details are so good. Like, it's cold, it feels murky, it feels moldy, it feels wet. I'm loving it. So yeah, I say 8 minutes in, I say all that to say this. Baby, this shit good. It literally is combining the first 2 books I read from her, one I didn't like and one I did like, and it's like, it's hitting a sweet spot. And that's what you want from an author. You want to feel like an author is learning from her past and bringing something new to the fold. So I am going to sit. I'm gonna knock out another 50 of this, and I'll talk to you guys maybe when later. I don't know if I'm gonna talk to you after the 50, but I will talk to you though before the day is over. Okay. Hello, you guys. I truly do have to go to bed. Would you believe me if I said it is literally 1 o'clock in the morning, but I cannot stop reading this book. We are reading Wild Dark Shore, by the way, and I am on page 173. You guys, this book is so good. It is so damn good. Like I said, this author is combining everything from her first 2 books. So like the creepiness and the mysteriousness from Once We Were Wolves, and the specific details she put in Migration about birds and animals and wildlife. She's combining those 2 things, and it is just the perfect meal. It is so good. There is a passage in here that really stuck with me. So there is a character, this 9-year-old boy, who is my favorite character in the book. He's so cute. He's telling a story to our main character, the woman who washed up on shore, Rowan. He's telling her about dandelions, and he's talking about how dandelions feed all of these people and how its seeds are the reason why like the environment keeps going. And like he gives us this long paragraph about how important dandelions are to the ecosystem, and then like the last sentence is like, and then it gets called a weed. And something about that was so effective. This thing that is just so important to the world, and then we just call it a weed. We just call it simply a dandelion. And you just have to read it to see just how good of a passage it was. But what makes this book so good is the character. You guys know I love good characters. And we are following these, what? 5 people, and the characters are so good and they're all so different, and it's just all blending together so well, and the writing has this mystery to it, but it's also uber specific, and this author, you can tell, is so intelligent about the stuff that she's trying to do. And also, like, this is a story about like climate change and how important the environment is, and it's really emotional as well. The way that this author writes, I'll say this about both of her books that I've read before this one, she just has a way to write that makes everything just feel more emotional, makes everything feel so real. Charlotte McConney is just such a really good writer when it comes to getting you to feel something. Like, I feel something when I'm reading this. The mystery at the root of this book is really, really good. But like I was saying before, it's the characters. Like, you gotta love what's happening with the characters. There's this found family aspect of this book. Sorry that the lighting keeps going in and out, you guys, but it's this found family aspect that is really, really working. I'm enjoying the nature stuff. When I read Migration, I did not like the nature stuff. I found it to be overly written. I found it to feel false. And I just I didn't think the character was that strong, but she has made up for that in her last 2 books that she published after that. This book is so good. I just think that you should read it. And I think you should read it physically. Like, it just all is coming together and it's working so well, and I am so heavily invested in all of these characters and their outcome, and I don't even know what I'm invested in, because another thing this author does really well is that, like, you know how we say books don't have world building? This author is able to build a world that you don't know much about, but it doesn't feel like it's empty. So like, clearly there's been some type of apocalypse, plague, or something that has happened on Earth that has made a lot of Earth inhospitable and caused a lot of wildfire, and climate change is a huge issue. But like, we don't really know, and we're not going to know. That's how this author is. But like, you don't need to know. Like, that's not the point. The point is the story with these people. This author, like, just give it to her. This book is so good. Like, I need to go to bed. Like, you guys, it is literally 1 o'clock in the morning. I need to go to bed, but I'm gonna read 10 more pages. Like, I need to read 10 more. I literally had to stop because I'm just like, I need to come talk to you guys about how much I am enjoying this book. Like, I love grown people books. That's another thing I need to say. I love books that are for adults. I love books, movies, TV shows that is for adults. I think so many people read books that's for kids. Like, they're not written well. And that's not saying books for kids can't be written well. I just think, you know what, let me change that. I hate books that are simple for simple people. Sorry. And that's not this book. This book is doing so much and so much well. So anyways, I won't talk to you guys until I am finished with this book, because I just want to eat it up. I read all of this today. I read all of that today. Like, we are on the other side. I'm finishing this book up tomorrow, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts, okay? Hello, you guys. The last time I talked to you guys, I was in bed, and so I want to come back and discuss Wild Dark Shore, because since the last time I talked to you guys, I told you I was going to read 10 more pages. I have read 50 more pages since the last time I talked to you guys. We are at the end of this book, and it has been a long time since I have said this in a vlog. I don't want this book to end. You guys, not only are we on 5-star alert, this book is probably going to get 5 stars. We're on This Is My Favorite Book of the Year alert. I am having such a good time with this book. Everything that this author is trying to do is working on me. All the emotional stakes, all the plot, all the characters, it's just all working and all coming together for me. It has one of my favorite characters of the year in this book. It's just, it's all freaking there. But I want to say, it is not shocking that I am liking this book because they cousins. They are cousins. If you know, last year, my favorite book of the year was The Bee Sting by Paul Murray, the book I read last year. These two books are 100% in conversation with each other. It would not surprise me if Charlotte McConney read The Bee Sting and then came up with this book, because they have so many similarities in what they are trying to do. And at the root of this story is about a family, and it uses the environment to show the plight of these characters. So it's talking about climate change, but it's also talking about this family and how these two stories are running parallel to each other, but they're the exact same story. It's just all so good, but they're doing the exact same thing. The Bee Sting is just longer, so there's more meat on the bones, but that does not mean I don't think it takes great skill to be able to do what the Bee Sting did in just 300 pages, but they are doing the exact same thing, and so it's not surprising that I enjoy both of these books greatly. This morning I woke up and I read more pages, and it just gets better, you guys. I've not read a book in a long time, but like, the more that I read it, the better it seems to get. And it's just it's the characters for me. The characters are so good. And I keep saying this, but I want to continue to say it. An author that learns from her past and then gives you something new. This author has done this before. So I'm not trying to say this author is just stealing from the Bee Sting. This author always has these contemporary stories mixed in with these like end of the world, apocalyptic, climate change issues. This author has always done this, but there was always something missing. Like with Migration, I truly believe that book just wasn't fully well done. But like many authors I read, I think, and I don't like their book, I'm like, if you had more time, like if you were longer in the tooth, you could write this book better. And so then when Once There Were Wolves, I've been saying once we were wolves, it's Once There Were Wolves. When that book came out, I was just like, this is good. You're figuring out what you are supposed to do. And this book just feels like both of those books in one. Like this is it. This is it. Oh my gosh. It is so good. I do not want it to end. And I just wanted to come and just let you guys know just how much I am enjoying. I don't want to undersell just how much I am enjoying this book, because I am deeply enjoying this book. It's so good. You just should read it. And the thing is, it's kind of like The Bee Sting. If it doesn't scratch that itch for you, I still think you're going to think it's a good book, but it might not mean as much to you as it means to me. You guys know I love a family drama. My thing, if you want me to read a book, family drama, I love a family drama. And I think in this day and age where everyone is too cool for school, family dramas have kind of been seen as like, older people type of literature. It's not really seen for literature that young people read, but I deeply love family dramas because I just think you can get inside the psyche of so many people following a family, and when they're done right, they're so good. They're so freaking good. So I'm enjoying myself. I'm going to finish this today, unfortunately, and it sucks for the next two books, Liars and Juny. There's no way they're going to be able to be as good as this book, and it's just so good to just... I haven't given out a lot of 5 stars this year. And then I was thinking about this the other day, how if you stop the year right now, I don't think I have 10 favorite books of the year. I would just have to just go off of the 10 books I like the most. But I don't think I have 10 5-star books to just come and tell you guys these are my favorite books of the year, because it hasn't been that type of reading year. It hasn't been a bad reading year. I've just enjoyed the books that I've read, but nothing really so good. But that's this. That is truly this. It's so good. It's this is what I read for. Like, this is, whenever I find a book like this, I'm like, oh, this is why you read 200 books a year, Kenya, just to find this one. But I'm glazing. I'm gonna finish this, and then I will come and give you guys my final thoughts, okay? You guys, I'm here with some book updates. First things first, I need to come and tell you that I did finish Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConney. 5 stars, like just 5 stars. I'm not even gonna say any more about it because I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point. This is my favorite book that I have read this year thus far. I just had such a good time with this book. It just did what it needed to do. I haven't had a read like this in a really, really long time, and this just gave me everything I wanted. 5 out of 5 stars, no notes. I will be reading any and everything that Charlotte McConney puts out because that just had everything that I wanted in it. So then, after that, I woke up this morning and I had to get started on another book because we got to make it through 3 books this week. And so I got started on Juny. Now, I was nervous because it is not shocking for me to read a really good book and it be really hard for me to get into something else because I keep thinking about the last book that I read and how much I miss it. So I was like, I want to give Juny a fair shake, but I don't know if I'll be able to. So I started reading this book this morning. And it was good. And it was good. And I'm in it. It is so good when you read a good book and you go into another book and you're enjoying it just as much because Juny is really good. I was able to get 50 pages read this morning. It's a little bit denser of a read, not very dense, but it's reading about the same pace as Wild Dark Shore. For me, about a page a minute. So it took me about an hour this morning to get to page 50. And let me tell you what's going on in Juny. So Juny starts off in the year 1860. So we are about to hit the Civil War, if my math is correct. We are about to hit the Civil War, and Juny is on a slave plantation in Alabama, and she is there with some other black people, but she is a slave that works in the house, so she doesn't really know what's going on down in the field with them slaves. She is a house slave, and so she is there with her cousin named Bess. She has her aunt, she has her grandpa, and she doesn't have a mom and dad. Her mom and her dad died and her mom was sold, but she has somebody who she considers to be like her mom on the plantation. And then she has a dead sister named Minnie. And Juny and Minnie were always juxtaposed because Minnie was very light-skinned, had light eyes, and she was kind of seen as like a good slave. Like, she didn't get into trouble. She did all the housework well. Everyone liked her. And this is how the slaves see her, by the way. They always saw her as the good one, and Juny is kind of the chaotic one. She is kind of the one who always is in mischief. She never is doing her job. She's always running around, and so Juny kind of took that to heart because, like, she kind of saw herself as less because everyone told her she was less. And a lot of people say that Juny is only a house slave and not in the field because she is friends with the daughter of the slave master. So they live at McQueen Plantation. Well, it's called Bellarny Plantation, but it's owned by the McQueens. The McQueen father, he is a drunk. He is a gambler. He's never home. And then you have the mistress of the house, and she kind of keeps things in order. And from what I can glean, like, she's not like a hard slave master, whatever that means, but like, she's not like whipping them. She's not being cruel to them, whatever that means in the landscape of slavery. But you get what I'm saying. They kind of like, as long as they do their work, everything they go about their like business, whatever that means. And so, but they have a daughter named Violet, and Juny and Violet have been friends, whatever that means, since they were young. And so she is the maid of Violet. She helps Violet do stuff. And the big thing is that they read together. They love the romantics. They love Jane Austen. They love the romantics. They love Keats. They love all of that. And so they don't want anyone to know that Juny knows how to read. So they keep it hush hush. But Juny has always known how to read since she's been young. And so now they're 17 years old. And the big thing that's happening is because the McQueen, the slave master, because he's a gambler and a drunk, they are running out of money. They just had to fire like the overseer of the plantation because the funds is low. And so they need Violet to marry this rich man so that they can bring money into the plantation. The problem with that is if Violet gets married, Juny is going to have to leave the plantation to go be Violet's maid. And Juny doesn't want to leave because like this is all she's ever known. The people at this plantation is all she's ever known. And Violet also, she doesn't want to leave because Violet doesn't want to be married. She doesn't, and if she does get married, she wants to be married to someone who understands her, who doesn't want to just keep her on a plantation and to keep her, like boxed in. And so their life is, being torn up. But where I'm at in the story, the guy who is going to marry her and the sister, they are coming for a visit to the plantation, and that's where we're at. I love a slave story. I don't know how to explain it to you guys, like things that I just enjoy. I love a slave story. Now. I'm a little nervous about this. I am not one of those people who can overlook power dynamics and worldly dynamics in order to enjoy a story. I think I have to bring in all of my knowledge in order for me to take a story. I can't take a story at face value. So therefore, the relationship between Juny and Violet, I don't know if this book or this author wants me to overlook the power dynamics in it and to just believe Juny and Violet are friends. I do not believe you can be friends with the person who you are imprisoned by. I do not think you can be a lover to somebody who you are imprisoned by. I think just the fact that Violet is the daughter of slave masters, making her now a slave master, Juny is a slave and she is the maid and she has to do stuff for her. I think all of that makes it so these two people can never have a relationship that is built on any type of solid foundation. So therefore, if I am to be wooed and impressed by Violet and Juny's relationship, this book has a very long uphill battle to convince me of that, because I don't think that is something that can be. I do not think that is something that can be. And so I'm nervous about that. And I will say I don't like this book just for that, because I just don't think that's not how any of this works. I love a slave story, but I do not believe in being dishonest. I don't believe in being dishonest. I don't believe in trying to find empathy in people who are disgusting. I don't believe in trying to find humanity in people who are disgusting. And so no one who had slaves will ever get a thing from me, will ever get a tear out of my eye, will ever get a care out of me. So if this book goes down this thing where we supposed to be like Violet and Juny, Ace Boon Coon, no. No, and what a way of words for me to use that phrase, but no, I will not be doing that. But I am enjoying it. And I will say that I am enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep on reading. I might get to page 100, 150 today. I got some work to do. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys, it's been a while since you guys got this angle. Anyways, I want to come and give some updates on Juny, because I won't say I've been flying through this book, but since the last time I spoke to you guys, which was earlier in the day, I have gotten a pretty good chunk through this book. I am on page 130, so I've read about 80 pages since the last time I spoke to you guys, and I want to come and tell you this book is so good. I feel so good to get two back-to-back books that I am enjoying greatly. I just want to read and read and read. That is this book. So once again, as I was telling you before, we are following this character named Juny, and she is being haunted by her dead sister. And she also is dealing with the fact that she is possibly going to get shipped to another place because she is the maid of this white girl who her family wants to be married to somebody else. So she is worried about being, you know, removed from her family, as well as there might be some secrets that her sister had and her sister might want her to uncover. And so she's dealing with the fact that has all the stuff with slavery going on. She's dealing with slavery, but also dealing with the stuff in her own family and her own family history and the demons haunting her family or the secrets haunting her family. That is what Juny is dealing with. But at the exact same time, a new person has arrived to the plantation, because I told you guys the person she is the maid of a girl. The girl is supposed to be married off, where the people she's supposed to be married off to, the family, they have come to the plantation to stay for a while. And so they have brought their own slaves. And this boy named Caleb, who is around her age, he has come to the plantation, and there's a little bit of feelings. But I don't want to make it as trivial as like there's a romance, because it's actually a lot deeper than that. And there's a moment in this book that almost like brought me to tears a little bit. Oh my goodness. But the boy can't read. He can play the piano. There's other things they can do, but he can't read. He knows his letters, but he can't read. And it's the way that he says it. And it takes me back to thinking, like, imagine living in a world where like you are being tortured, but also you can't read. Like, you can't even read the things in front of you. Like, I don't think people understand just how brutal slavery was. Like, I just don't think people get it. And that's why I enjoy reading books about slavery, because it makes you never forget. Never forget what white people did to black people on this land. Like, on this land. This book takes place in Alabama. I went to college in Alabama. Like, do not forget what white people have put black people through. And there's this scene where they're meeting up because Juny's going to teach Caleb, that's the boy's name, how to read. And it's just a really, really good scene. There's been a lot of really, really good scenes. But what I want to come and talk to you guys about, do you guys remember like maybe 4 years ago, when this channel started, or maybe I was still putting book videos on As Told by Kenya? Do y'all remember when I used to say I love black magical realism? What happened with that? I used to love reading black magical realism. Some of my favorite books of all time have black magical realism. And I kind of went away from that. That's some food that I used to enjoy eating that I no longer indulge in. And this book is bringing it back to me. I told you she's being haunted by her dead sister. And that's one of my favorite things in black historical fiction, or in black fiction period, when there's like a haunting, there's like a magic going on that nobody can quite explain. This is right up my goddamn alley. This is right up my alley, especially in a world where Sinners by Ryan Coogler came out this year. And if anybody knows me, I love Sinners. I love Sinners through and through. Movie of the year. We taking it all the way to the Oscars. We winning Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. It's going to be a movie on Oscar night. Yes, it will be. But Sinners have. But this is reminding me of that. And so I'm just so happy I picked up this book. And I'm going to be honest with you. On the back of this book, it was blurbed by Charmaine Wilkerson. And I'm about to get a little bit messy, because if you watch this channel religiously, you know we read Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson earlier this year, and I didn't like it. And I didn't like it because I was kind of expecting something more towards this. And I just think this is what I was looking for. I'm not here to say Good Dirt is bad, because actually I am here to say Good Dirt is bad. I think there's some things objectively wrong with Good Dirt. Like, there's some opinions about books where I'm just like, I could see why this worked for some people, but it don't work for me. Then there's other opinions I have on books where I'm just like, I kind of think objectively this didn't work. And Good Dirt kind of falls in that. I think people are being too lenient on the book. I think there's some glaring issues with Good Dirt, but this is what I wanted. This is truly what I wanted. So it feels good that I am going to put this on like 4.5 star alert. I don't want to go as far as to put it on 5-star alert, because what if it doesn't? And then if I put it on 5-star alert and it doesn't quite make it, it's going to seem like I dislike this book. So I'm going to put it on 4-star alert, and then hopefully we hit 5, but I'm really enjoying it. Anyways, tomorrow I do plan on marathoning this book on out. I'm going to go to bed because it is really late. I'm in my PJs. I'm going to read as much as I can before my eyes start to give up on me. And then tomorrow is all about finishing this book. I don't care what. I'm not working out tomorrow. I'm not doing no work tomorrow. I'm going to finish this entire book tomorrow so we can move on to the next book and read all 3 books physically in this video through the week. Boom, I'm back on my reading shit. I've given up social media, which is a phase I go through every 3 weeks. I've given up social media. I'm all about reading these days. I'm all about reading and watching TV and, the news. I watch the news now. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I have been reading all day. I told you guys I'm finishing this book today, and I've read about 200 pages today. So we're literally, you guys, we're at the end. We are at the end. And I am going to say this, and I don't think this has ever happened in a video. This might be my favorite book of the year, which is crazy because I said that about the last book that we read. I went on a whole tangent about how the next book that we read is not going to live up to the, Wild Dark Shore, and boy, was I wrong. I think I'm liking this more than Wild Dark Shore. No, that's not true. I think they both are just scratching an itch in my brain that I have been wanting scratched all year. All year I have talked about not feeling passionate about any books that I have read. I have enjoyed books that I've read. I've given books 5 stars, but it's just like, I want a book where it's just like it gets me, and I always find them throughout the year, but for some reason this year they just haven't come. And I'm like, I'm going to find those reads, and I found them the past 2 books that we've read. Back to Juny. This book has taken me on so many rides. I feel bad that in my first clip talking about this book, I was just like, I hope the author understands that people can't fall in love on plantation. This book has taken us on so many rides that it's crazy that I would even think that this author would do that. But everything is so good. Everything is so good. And then there is kind of a love story in this book. And it is so tender, and it is so wholesome, and it's just so good. I'm gonna leave it on this, and I'll finish it and wrap up this part of the video. But I always say I like slave stories because there is no group of people in our history as humans who deserve to be put on page with care and consideration, and for their humanity to constantly be shown to us, because in this world they were treated so cruelly, they were treated so less than human, that it is all of our jobs to make sure that when anyone talks about slavery, when anyone talks about slaves, they show how beautiful these people were. They show how these people deserved a chance, and they deserved a life that was full, and how these people made the most of the lives that they were given. And so when I read slave stories or watch slave stories, I want to see them on page or on screen with care and consideration and wholeness. And that's what Juny is doing. And it's perfect. It's everything that I love. It feels like this book was written for me. It genuinely does. And I just love it. I just genuinely love it. I've cried twice. I have cried 2 times reading this book. This book makes me talk to no one's here. No one is in this house with me. I am here by myself, and I've been talking to walls, baby. I've been talking to walls because this book has just been taking me on a ride. It's so good. This book will 100% show up, just like Wild Dark Shore. They're going to show up in my top 10 favorite books of the year, and the fact that they came back to back, it just feels good, especially in a time where I have given up social media, because sometimes I give up social media and then I'll read the worst fucking books imaginable, and it's just like, I need social media to give me something because the books ain't doing it. This feels amazing. I'm living in this world of just bliss. What's going on on social media? I don't know, because I'm just in my books. I'm just in my books, and I'm in my work, and I'm in my family, and it just feels good. Anyways, it is Thursday. Thursday night football comes on, and I do want to watch it. Football season is my favorite time of the year. Let's be clear. We have entered Kenya's favorite time of the year. So I do want to finish this before football comes on. I need to eat lunch But once I do all of that, I will talk to you guys about this. Actually, I'm lying. I'm going to finish this. And then I'm going to get into liars a little bit. And then I'll come talk. So we'll finish this up and I'll give you initial thoughts on liars because I just feel like I've been coming to talk to you guys a lot. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. You guys, it is midnight. Do you guys want to know what my midnight snack of choice is? Some people like popcorn, some people like cookies, some people like ice cream, some people, who knows, want an entire like roast for leftovers at midnight. My midnight snack of choice is bowl and canned pears. Canned pears are the only canned fruit that I eat, but I love them. I get them cold. I put them in the fridge. I get them cold. I can eat them warm too. Like, just let's be clear. If I forget to put it in the fridge, I can eat it warm, no problem. And this is what I eat every couple of nights. I don't want ice cream. I don't want cookies. I want preserved pears. I don't know what it is. I have loved these since I was a kid. And this seems like the type of like kid food that you would grow out of. Like, ooh, remember when I was a kid and I used to eat like canned olives or something? It seems like something like that. But no, I think I love them more as an adult. And let's be clear, I love real pears too, like fresh pears. Love them. Pears are one of my favorite fruits. I'm the only person who's ever said that. Pears are one of my favorite fruits. Top four probably. Top four favorite fruits, pears. But the can, yes, this is my midnight snack. I get me a small fork, and I go to town. It takes me like 2 minutes to eat, and then I head to bed. Just letting you know what I eat for a midnight snack. Okay. Hello, you guys. I am here to give final updates on Juny. I was able to finish this book yesterday. It took me 2 days to read this book, and I actually gave myself 3 days to finish it. I was like, this book is 350 pages. I can read about 110 pages a day and finish it in 3 days. But I enjoyed this book so much that I read it in 2 days, and I'm going to go ahead and give this book 5 out of 5 stars. It took me on a ride. It took me on a journey. I had feelings. I had emotions. I really, really enjoyed this book. I do think if you're not me, like you don't like the stuff that I like, or maybe you don't usually like the books that I like, maybe you wouldn't like this book as much as I did, but 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. This was right on par with Wild Dark Shore. I just loved them. I just really, really loved them. They feel like they were made for me. So we got another winner. So going into our next book, of course I'm worried. Of course I'm worried that the next book, the last book of this video, won't be able to live up to the first 2 because I am just not lucky enough of a woman to be able to get three 5 stars in a row. No. That just doesn't seem like something that would happen to me. So this morning, I told you guys I'm trying to read every single morning. I picked up Liars by Sarah Manguso. This is from the author of Very Cold People. You guys know that Very Cold People is one of my 25 books to read in 2025. So I have not read it just yet, but I will by the end of the year. And so I'm not familiar with this writer's writing. So let me go in and tell you so far what this book is about. So first things first, let me show you the style of this book. This book is written in small little chunks. So small little like paragraphs, sometimes just a sentence. And you are following a woman in her life. She starts the story off and she has met a man named John. She has met a man named John at a film festival, I believe. And they quickly start a relationship and they get married. From the very beginning, there are issues in their marriage, things that she kind of overlooks to kind of keep the peace, but they do also have arguments and stuff like that. His main thing is that he really doesn't have a career that is stable, and so he quickly has to start borrowing money from people. He quickly has to start borrowing money from her, and he's just trying to get his footing. He is an artist. She is a writer. Her writing takes off before his art does, and so he starts to become resentful of her and what she has going on. And basically from there, you're following this marriage as it continues, as they have a child together. Where I'm at, they've had a child. That child is about 2 years old. And you're just following this marriage and getting little stories of what's going on in their marriage. So how do I feel about this book? I am not greatly enjoying this book, and you're shocked. You're shocked because the thing about Kenya is she always says she loves a marriage story, and I stand on that. I love a marriage story, but there is an issue with this book. I do not like being in the throes of someone who is slowly having a mental breakdown. I don't like it. This happens oftentimes with books about women who are mothers, where like you keep following them doing the same stuff or different stuff, and you're slowly supposed to see that they're spiraling out of control. That type of thing. I do not like that. That is a reading experience that just isn't, it doesn't make me feel good. I read books to feel good. I really do. And so when I am in a book where I am slowly seeing someone spiral, and I am in the moments, I am in every single moment that causes their mental health to just deteriorate, it's just really, really frustrating. And so if this was just a story about these two people's marriage that is, not doing well, I could be there. But that's not what this is. This is you going from story to story about how this woman is in a marriage that is awful. That is awful. It seems to have no redeeming qualities. You don't like the man that she's married to. Her life sucks. She won't do anything about it. She doesn't realize she's in this cycle, and it just keeps going. And like every story gets worse and worse, and then she goes back. And the thing is, I know that's intentional. You're supposed to feel like you are a part of this woman's world where she is just trapped. She is just trapped. She is in this cycle. The experience is supposed to be this way. I personally don't want to be in it. Another thing, when it comes to books like this where someone is in a god-awful marriage and they keep being in a god-awful marriage, I can't relate to it. And that's another reason why being in the throes of someone's marriage or being in these stories is a really bad feeling for me. Like I feel horrible. Like reading this gives me a headache because, and I know you're not supposed to relate to books, and that's not what I'm trying to say. The issue is what this author is trying to do, which is to immerse you into this life. When it's immersing me into this life, it is so unlike anything I have ever experienced, will ever experience, that it hurts. It physically hurts my brain to be inside of this. This woman is in a relationship with this man, and I told you he has zero redeeming qualities. There's nothing good about this marriage, and she just stays. And it's not like, it's just small shit that so she used to like write and stuff. She ain't wrote shit in like 2 years. This man damn near miss her giving birth to their child. He ended up getting drunk and getting a concussion, and someone had to bring him to the doorsteps, and she had a trip to London planned, and she couldn't go to London because she was in the hospital taking care of him. Mind you, she's 8 months pregnant, and it's just on and on. She gave him $8,000. He didn't want to give her the money back. She left the house for 3 days, and she came back. The house was a fucking mess. Anytime she asks him to do something, maybe he does it sometimes. If he does it, she likes him again and they get back to like things go good again, but he'll do something else that doesn't matter. He's mean to her. He's rude to her. He doesn't care about her. She has no career, no nothing. She doesn't have any friends. And it's just like her life has just become being a mom and being a wife. And the thing is, that's the point. I get it. That is the point of this book. The point is to show you how women give up all of themselves to become wives and mothers. Oh, I get the point. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here because it's just so not me. Another thing, this book, this is very white women as well. White women and black women are conditioned differently. White women and black women, you lead two different lives usually because of the way we are all raised. And this, not to act like a black woman couldn't go through this, because trust me, black women, we have our own plights and our own bullshit running up behind these men. But this is just so white women. Like everything that's going on in this book, I'm reading it and I'm just like, this wouldn't happen to me as a black woman. Black women get a lot of flack for Black women not being married, Black women being single, Black women being single mothers, Black women not staying with their baby daddies, all of this stuff. And all of that stuff makes us not susceptible to this bullshit. Black women have just been taught to always be in survival mode, to always be in self-preservation mode, and also to always be independent. And that comes with good and bad, but it does stop you from being in this fucking nonsense. So also reading this book, I'm just like, I also don't know no Black woman who will be in this nonsense. No, my mama wouldn't be in this. My sisters wouldn't be, like, it just wouldn't. And the only type of Black woman that would find herself in this is a Black woman who is trying to assimilate to white standards of womanhood. Stay with me. That's the only people who would, because there are Black women who do look at white womanhood and the way white women are in relationships and see envy in it, and right, and that has its own reasons. But and so in order to assimilate to what they believe women should be and what a real woman would do, they would find themselves in this trying to mimic white womanhood, not realizing white womanhood ain't all it's cracked up to fucking be. And that's how you end up in this as well. So I usually don't say this, but not being able to relate to a book has made this book miserable. It's not a bad book. It's not a bad book. It's just excruciating to read for me. And I haven't felt this way reading a book in a long time, to where it's just like, every time I go back for more, I'm just like, oh fucking God. But I do want to know what happens. That's the thing. It's like I said, it's not a bad book. I do want to know what happens, because I love a marriage story. But like, there's just, I'm going to read that in the morning. I'm going to give up on that for today. I'm on page 100. I only have 150 pages left of the book, and we'll wrap it up once I'm done with that. But it's a lot, and it's grating, and I feel bad for this woman, but also I find myself being really rude to this woman, because I'm just like, if you don't lead this man, see, this the Black woman coming out of me. If you don't lead that nigga, like, what are you gaining in all of this? But this, and so it's just like, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Anyway, I'll finish and talk to you guys later. Hello, you guys. I'm here to close out this video. I was able to finish Liars by Sarah Manguso, and I am of two minds with this book. I did not enjoy my reading experience of this book. I actually found it kind of excruciating. You are just in this woman's thoughts as she is dealing with a toxic, horrible, terrible marriage that she seems to be doing nothing about. This book does have a change in perspective about 2/3 of the way through, and I do think the book gets better when that happens, because the book stops feeling so stagnant, but you are still once again in this woman's head as she is dealing with the aftermath of her horrible, terrible marriage. And you have a narrator who is kind of unreliable. Here's the thing. I know what this author is trying to do, and I do think at times it does work. I just don't think this book is fully for me, which is crazy because it's about a toxic marriage, and you guys know I love a toxic marriage, but it's actually not about a toxic marriage. It's actually about this woman dealing with being in a marriage where she is just being disrespected, gaslit, and treated horribly, and her coming up with excuses for why she should stay in that marriage. I do think this is one of those stories, if you are able to relate, you are going to feel seen in this story. It's one of those stories, like, if you feel like you've been through this situation or know someone who's been in this situation, that is for you. But unfortunately, and I never feel this way when I'm reading a book, I am not able to relate to this book, so I just find this book excruciating. It's one of those books where I do kind of think it's worth the read to see if it gels with you, and there is something here. I just didn't love it, you guys, so I am personally going to give this book 2.5 out of 5 stars. But that is fine, because we got 2 5 stars in this video. We got Wild Dark Shore, perfect. We got Juny, perfect. I enjoyed both of these books. They both were cinematic. They took me on a ride. I felt emotions, and it feels good to know, like, I have 2 books that I would put in my top 10 favorite books of the year. So with that being said, it was all worth it. and Liars is for someone. I am happy though I did get to these books because they've been sitting around on my TBR, like different TBRs I put together throughout the year for forever, and now they're done. I did get my hands on one book this past week. I got my hands on The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. The sequel for this already came out, and I've never read the first one, and I just feel like we are heading into spooky month, and so I'm going to read some witchy stories. I usually like witchy stories. I actually have a few witch stories on my bookshelf that I should probably try to get to next month. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.